This is Filter Free with Natalie. Welcome back. If you are new here, then welcome. Glad you stopped by and hope you enjoy everything. On this channel, we talk about health. We talk about health care and our specific issues and needs, specifically in autoimmune conditions, but really anything that would fall under the medical umbrella, including medical marijuana and how to make edibles safely, and just talking about overall wellness. So if that's something that you're interested in, then stick around, look at some of the videos that I have, and make sure to like and subscribe so that you can catch every video that's put out. And don't forget to leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about this video today. So today we are going to be talking about a very interesting topic, and I can't wait to interweave it with Medical Monday. We are going to be talking about procrastination. So if you're ready to put it off until the very end, let's go. So I know what you're thinking, right? Procrastination doesn't have anything to do with medical. Why are we doing this on Medical Monday? I hate to disagree, but I think a big part of Medical Monday has a lot to do with procrastination. First of all, I am a procrastinator. I am an advocate for procrastination. I'm joking, but at the same time I'm not, because I am one of those people who has always done better with a deadline, who instead of taking all their time to research and outline and do everything in the right way that you're supposed to do, the right way, I just go right up to that line and go, okay, got it. The reason why this matters, I'm sorry I'm having a indecision about my glasses. The reason why this matters is because this can be a part of all of your life. So procrastination is not just about not, finishing a paper or a presentation or project right when the deadline is hitting. That's just what we normally assume that it would be. But first of all, let's talk about procrastination. Is it friend or is it foe, right? So it can be both. Did you know that procrastination has a lot to do with psychology of how you are approaching your world? As a reminder, I have a bachelor's in psychology, but I'm not in any way offering any counseling or medical advice at any time in this video. I'm just referencing, okay? So you have the issue. The question is, what drives the procrastination? And what does that have as an impact on us in our health? So best first example I can give is not going to see any kind of doctor for several years, which then of course leads you to, well, I'm older now, and I was 35 when I finally got a job again that gave me all the health benefits I needed to go get checked. So I was like, well, let's pop the hood and see what's going on. Well, what was going on is I had cancer. So procrastination did keep me from many a stirrup situation, but it did not keep me from many a stirrup and more situations, because I didn't have it checked regularly, and I didn't have a medical team of people taking care of me like they should be, because I am a person who has things that you need to take care of. I need a primary care doctor, etc. So for me, procrastination on that end backfired, because it's not that it was bad or good. It's kind of like bad language. There's a reason why you can say bloody in the UK and it's a bad word, and here we're like, well, okay, how messy is it? I know it's a well-known word, so I'm not saying it's not. What I'm saying is you can't intrinsically consider procrastination to be good or bad. You have to evaluate it further. So let's break this down a little more, okay? Okay. So let's go ahead and get past a couple of stigmas before we really delve in here. Being a procrastinator does not automatically make you lazy. People that don't understand why people procrastinate are usually the ones that consider you lazy because you're procrastinating, because they couldn't possibly imagine you getting everything done in that time frame, whatever that time frame may be. But that's because they're looking at it from their point of view. I do this every time. These glasses drive me crazy. Sorry about that. I'm using notes because I have memory issues, so now you're just going to know that I'm looking at notes, but this is because I prepare. Guys, I do all of this for you. In fact, I even put my face on today. A little bit. A little bit. See, I was trying to cover the last of my prednisone skin botch. I still am on prednisone, but it's a very low dose. It's probably like the lowest dose. And so while that has brought other things to light, it also has helped me a lot with getting my skin under control, because there's only so many things that freckles and sunshine will get you. If you're having big, giant, beastly zits, that's just going to be happening. So I don't normally wear makeup, as you can probably tell. And it's changed through the years. I've had people give advice on how I should do my eyes. Like, look, that eye looks like, hey, we're gonna go out to dinner later. And this one's like, yeah, but I'd rather stay in and like Netflix, do something, binging flights. So seriously, I do this for you, and I'm doing this research for you. So why don't I take a minute and get collected, and then I'll be more than happy to start talking about procrastination. Okay, so what I was trying to say before is that procrastination is not inherently good or bad. It is simply a thing. It can be bad for people who don't like it but feel like they are involved in it. It can be good if it's driving you. So let's talk about that a little more. And yes, I'm bringing out my notes so that this is an efficient and informative video for you. Otherwise, what's the point, right? You don't want to just sit here and, when's the good stuff coming? Well, it's right here. And there is some debate about procrastination actually being part of a mental disorder, where it's like you literally just cannot figure out how you are going to be able to get from A to B, and it's just not clicking in here. But that's not, doesn't have a lot of support, not a lot of efficacy to it, but it is something I wanted to mention because forewarned is forearmed or whatever. Got distracted because my wife came home. Okay, sorry. There's always room for my wife coming home to say hi to her. So we were discussing this being a potential mental disorder, or a proponent of one, a component of one, but that does not have any real base to it. It's just as possible as anything else, I suppose. So let's look at it in a different way. Why does procrastination even happen in the first place? And the way we're tying this into medical makes complete sense. There's the main driving force for procrastinating is fear. It's fear of the outcome, it's fear of rejection, it's fear of the procedure, pain, it's fear of, something going wrong, it's fear of whatever is applicable to why you're procrastinating. As simple as, a kid procrastinating on a research paper because they're afraid they're going to fail. When in reality, the only way they're going to fail is probably by procrastinating. Kind of a double-edged sword the way that goes, but if you don't mind, Eleanor would like to be a part of this discussion. Eleanor, do you think that procrastination is an issue? No, she's moving right away. Okay, so fear of rejection or of incompletion, the idea of, I'm going to start something and I'm so pumped about it. I'm ready to go. I'm going to get up this day and do these things and it's going to be awesome. Everything's going to be awesome. Except that you're a procrastinator and you have these dreamy visions of what's going to happen at this date and time. But between then and now, who's going to take care of making it all happen? Or are you just going to sit back and go, I hope so. I hope it's going to come up because that's what you said. So you're a participant in procrastination. And when that happens with an issue of fear involving your health, that's where we have a recipe for concern. I won't say disaster. Not everything is a disaster, but for concern. So you have to start, in order to get past this, you have to acknowledge what it is that's going on. Like, are you afraid of something? Is it rejection? What is it? And in order to you take a goal of any kind, and you need to put self-control involved. The way to have a recipe for a good outcome is self-control fueled by motivation. So when you have self-control in the world of medicine, then let's say, that's really, that one's kind of hard. It's, to be honest, self-control, like you're supposed to be losing weight and you have said no to most things that you know have made you have issues with weight. They're trigger foods maybe, or they're just foods that are so damn delicious that why would you ever give them up? And if you have self-control over those things, then that's fine, because you'll also have motivation to like say, hey, I'm gonna go this whole week and I'm gonna eat really well, really like I'm supposed to, because on Friday I'm having a burger and I'm having a this or a that, because you are having a motivation to get through the issues where you may be challenged with your self-control. Okay, the next idea is the flip side. There's two sides to every coin, right? So did you know that demotivation is actually a thing? Because I probably should remember that from my college days, but I really didn't. And as it may sound, demotivation, which is usually linked to failure, that kind of compounds onto the self-control issue. If you have a lack of motivation, or in fact are driven away from being motivated, obviously from some sort of fear, whatever it may be, then that just causes the vicious cycle that says, okay, well, I'll just put it off, you know, I don't want to think about that now. I'll think about that tomorrow. That hindering factors like your mental exhaustion, the idea of a disorder, but the idea that you can go through days where you're so exhausted. How on earth are you going to focus on insert thing here? And that's when procrastination shows up and says, hey, you don't have any motivation. In fact, you're kind of down and out. Why don't we just come and sit down for a while? Is that a TV I think I see? Yeah, I think you should sit down, and I think I smell ice cream. Right? Like, it happens so easily. Just like Ellen DeGeneres said on one of her older, I think it was called Here and Now or Then and Now, the stand-up. And she talked about procrastination, and she said, don't put it off, procrastinate today, which is not just hers, I've heard it elsewhere, but really the procrastination is not the problem. Procrastination is not the bad guy here. We're the bad guy here. Okay, so what you gotta do in this situation for Medical Monday, procrastination in your healthcare can lead to putting off visits that you know you need to have. For example, I've already told you, like primary care things and lady business visits, but also based on age, there's a good chance that and my symptoms, for me, there's a good chance that I'm going to have an endoscopy or a colonoscopy. Not in the next day or so, but in the next month or two, probably, I'm going to have that, because I have symptoms that are more concurrent with these issues of the GI. I have irritable bowel syndrome and other things like that. So I'm already afraid of all that. I have health-specific anxiety, and while my healthcare providers seem to not know how to respond to that, I can't do both. I'm so distracted. Oh. I really don't know what I was saying. What was I just saying? Distractamundo?
Something about IBS.
IBS. I have IBS-C. I've mentioned it before. And so, of course, I'm putting off. I'm not 50. I'm not required to have one just for giggles. I do have cirrhosis. There's a concern of esophageal varices. I'm putting that word right on the bottom so that everybody knows what word I'm saying there. So I will eventually have to have an endoscopy, which is what goes down your throat to look at your esophagus and your stomach, and maybe some small intestines, like throughout, just past the sphincter, the esophageal sphincter or the pyloric sphincter. Yes, there are sphincters that aren't supposed to be funny. So I am supposed to do those things probably soon, and I'm putting them off. I am procrastinating them like a boss because I don't want it. Like Joey would say on Friends, nothing is going up. But I win and lose some battles, and the more I get sick, the more of those battles I lose, because that just seems to be what it is. So you have your issue with procrastination, you're running into an issue with your health. What do you do so that you don't just shove everything under the rug and say, as long as I don't know it's there, then it's not, there's nothing wrong with me. I am doing a quick sidebar because I don't typically talk about politics. This is not a political channel. Nothing about my channel should shout, get your politics here. Not a bit. But seriously, I don't know how to say it. This is what made me think of it. I was going to say that sometimes a fear of a diagnosis or a specific type of illness might keep somebody from just going to see and just, rip the Band-Aid off and go and look. There's fight or flight. Most people are flight and some people are fight. And the president was talking about how the more we test, the more cases we get. If we didn't test so much, there wouldn't be so many cases. Now I pause and not talk about politics on this channel, except for what he said was the assumption, which is being consumed by the country, whether you're a supporter or not. The issue is the logic or lack of logic behind this conversation. This is not a causational thing. You give someone a test, they're positive. Now look, you put another test out there. You put another person positive out there. No, we confirmed that the person already out there being positive has now been identified as positive. So you can't go through life for procrastination with this idea that, if you just do this, it's going to go away, because that's not how it works. It doesn't go away with the heat or a good cleaning. All right, that's all. Okay. So in summary here with procrastination, first of all, I don't think that procrastination is a bad thing. It's certainly not a bad, dirty word. I think that the only way procrastination works is when you have the discipline or self-control, interchange those, the discipline and the motivation. Someone in my life several years ago was charged with having to save a good chunk of money in a very small amount of time for something that they wanted to have accomplished. And even though in the previous months or years, they had never saved money like that, they were like, I want it, I am motivated. When they came into, issues of temptation, of being like, I don't really want it that bad, I could spend the money here or there. No, they worked their ass off, they saved, and they did what they needed to do, and it all worked out because they had those things. It wasn't about procrastination, but that exact same person can procrastinate better than anybody I know, except for maybe me and my wife. We're both Pisces, so I think that we get an automatic master level just from that. So, let's sum up. Procrastination is just not for everyone. It's okay if you rely on it. I rely on it most of the time. I can't really rely on it medically anymore. I don't want anything to come up and surprise me. If one more thing comes up and surprises me, it's going to be a whole different kind of video, because since I was 35, it was like a switch flipped and was like, now is when we start. And you have no idea where it's going to go or how bad it's going to get or how many different doctors you're going to have to go through. But do not procrastinate. Do not let this go. So even though I know I'm a procrastinator, and for some things I always will be, because it just is better, it's just easier for me. But there are times where, when it's driven by fear and it's driven by the unknown, that's not a fear to run from or use procrastination as a crutch for. At least get down enough to identify what it is you're afraid of. Be able to name it. I procrastinate because I don't want this to happen, or I don't want to know that this could be going on. I don't want to have a colonoscopy because I'm afraid that they're going to find all these polyps and I'll end up having a poo bag. That's just, not only is that a fear I have, but it's a fear I have, including a family medical history, that a person on my mom's side of the family has a lot of the issues, like our family tree has a lot of the issues that I have. And on my dad's side, that is also true. So it doesn't matter which limb of which tree I'm on, there's going to be something coming. So I can no longer pretend like I'm the healthiest fat person you know. I used to be. Yes, I did. I used to be, because I had no high blood pressure. I had no dogs trying to kill me like that. I used to think that I was just a healthy fat person. I was very active, not like exercise. I abhor. I actually hate exercise when it's intentional. But if it's something that feels good for you to do, like if I go to a gym, or back before I couldn't, when I would go to a gym, I like those ropes and things that you could do. Like if you were really strong, I guess you could do like a jumping rope thing, but otherwise it was just me, just having the ability to just at least make that snap noise. Those big ropes. But that's really it. I'm rambling. So if you're putting off something because you're afraid of what's going to happen and you haven't addressed why you fear that, that's where you should start. Don't feel guilty and punish yourself for not getting up and doing exactly what everyone else seems to tell you to do. Because this is for 18 and up, you are a grown-up. And the first thing you should do is, if people are getting on you, or you notice that I should be doing something and I just don't want to, but why don't you want to? What's the mechanism? What's the fear? What's driving that? If you can change that, just that part, it'll be so much easier for you. I forgot to move my stuff around. Sorry. This is my favorite Hemingway painting, just letting you know, since it was in our view line. So, wow, lots of opening up the window for the pug-a-lug. Sorry, the longer I do this talking, also the more exhausted I get. So I'm trying to keep it shorter because I feel like some of my videos are too long. I'm trying to get a hold of, how to make this work best so that everyone involved is benefited. I'm not in this for the money. If it gets monetized, or if I get Patreon account one day, then that will be a blessing I will say thank you to. But I'm not out here for that reason. I want to let you know that you're not alone. You're not alone when you feel scared. You're not alone when you procrastinate and people make you feel bad for it or make you feel lazy about it. Now, I'm not saying that there are not people out there that are just lazy because that's what they prefer to do, because of course there are. But if you're resonating with this video, then chances are that's not you, because someone who truly does procrastinate and doesn't give a crap probably is not still watching. But if they are, I'm glad you stuck in there. So let me know in the comments what you thought about this concept. Do you procrastinate, and in what ways does it help you? Have you noticed, did this video bring up any ideas that you may be procrastinating in your healthcare without even realizing it? Just the littlest things. Do you have a primary care doctor? If you're old enough to get married and have kids, it's time to have a primary care doctor. If you're young and don't have kids and are in excellent health, and you just get sports physicals and things like that, that's great. But when you reach a point where you have kids, or if you don't but you have your own issues, you need a doctor. Especially since every time you watch one of my videos, I'm going to tell you to talk to your doctor. It would be helpful if you had one to talk to. So make sure you get a primary care doctor if you don't already have one. Advocate for yourself. there's nothing wrong with the fact that you procrastinate. Just identify where it comes from, and then you know that in some cases it's going to be a deterrent or a hindrance to you, while other times it's probably going to be really helpful for you. It just depends on what you're using it for. I hope that you guys enjoyed this content. I did try to keep it brief. Excuse me. And I did put my face on for you today. I won't do it every day because I just don't care that much about wearing makeup. I feel like I look weird, like I'm playing dress up and it's just on my face. But,
Oh, you're gorgeous.
well, thank you.
All the time.
All the time?
All the time. All the time.
So my wife has brought me something. So if you stick around to the end of this video, I am going to show you a really quick way to do a medical marijuana dose. But that's at the end of the video. So if you've lasted through all this and that's not your jam, you don't want to have anything to do with the marijuana part, then this is your cue to say, great, I liked your video, I've subscribed to your channel, I want to know when you post more, and also thanks for the heads up. If you're still here with me, then that means that we're about to come back and do a little shot of how I do a really quick dose. Okay, if you stuck around, then it's because you want to know what I'm doing with an edible situation. This is a quick makeshift. I don't even have a plate, so I'm going to show you really quickly. I do measure all of my stuff. This is just flour that has been ground, decarboxylated, and then measured. I measure before I cook it and after for accuracy. And my current dose is 40 milligrams. I've only gone as low as about 25 when I first even partook of edible things. And I have gone above that. My highest dose, because of my liver damage, inability to process things through, means the dose has to be higher, which can only go so far for anybody. I got up to about 75 to 80 milligrams. So when I'm looking at my progress, it really is through and through. But I digress. Let me go ahead and show you what I do. Here what we have is a piece of bread that has been buttered. And then here what we have is a little pouch that has been measured and is 40 milligrams. So, okay, one way to, I don't know how good this looks, but one way to check it, if it's not totally brown to you, because it'll go from green to brown, but you can also smell it. It should still smell like what it is, but kind of cooked, because that's exactly what it is. So all I do here is, sorry. Oh God. No! So if you have a pug or a dog of any kind, you do know that they want to eat everything. And I had Eleanor just smelled food and said, hey, it is very, very, very important that dogs, cats, goats, whoever, that they do not have access to marijuana, especially if it has been cooked. If it's activated like this, I mean, it could kill your dog or cat, so just please be mindful. So I put the actual cooked herb right there in the center, and now all I'm doing is a little drizzle of honey, about a teaspoon. This is local honey for me, so that just helps with my immune system too, since it's local stuff. And I just kind of do this with my finger, and then I will eat it. So this is quick pot toast. All I do is grind it, weigh it, put it in one of these little pouches, fold it up and over on the side so it's a little foil pouch envelope, and I cook that at about 250 for about 25 minutes. You can check on it if you do. There's another video out there about medical marijuana that'll have some more details for you. So once again, thank you for sticking around. I hope that for those of you who didn't know that could be a really quick fix, then there you go. I just call it pot toast. And it is a dose. I consider it a dose of medicine, just like anything else. I hope you all have a great and safe week coming up. Please share this page with your friends, your acquaintances, anybody that you think might benefit from it, find it amusing, or even if you guys want to roast me. Hey man, even negative attention is attention. Seriously though, I hope you guys have a great week. Be good to yourselves.